up here ready.
Figure it out.
Let's go. What's up, everybody? It's me, San Martin, and I am on the scene here at the Prescott Executive Studios in Prescott, Arizona. And today is going to be a good day to go ahead and pay attention to what is going to be said, because this all has to deal with your wealth management. So with that being said, let's get this party started, and we do it like this.
Oh, okay.
All right, guys, just as you all know, we love to go ahead and talk to new people that are in our community and also things that are happening in our community. And this is one of them that you guys would definitely want to go ahead and sit and watch, because it has to deal with your life. And if you guys don't believe it, you should believe it now. So without further ado, tell everybody who you are and what makes you famous.
Hey, all right. Thanks, Sam. My name's Brian Scott. I'm a financial advisor in the Prescott area. My firm's called Ryleigh Wealth Management. We're an independent financial advising firm, and we've got 5 financial advisors currently. What I'm focused specifically on, though, is helping women and families feel more confident about their finances.
Yep. And this is some conversation that a lot of people do not like to have. So like last thing we want you to do is get involved in our management of money. And we're just like, we all think that we can do it ourselves. We get it, we spend it, and then voila. So let's just get into the nitty gritty in regards to finding out why it's important to have somebody like you on our side.
Well, so I've been doing this quite a while now. And what I found over time is even most people, even successful people, don't have a financial plan. They maybe wrote something down on the back of a napkin. They've lost the napkin. They don't remember what they wrote on that napkin. And so there's a lot of confusion. And so what I'm fond of saying is with clarity comes confidence. And so the way that we're literally creating confidence for people is by working through our repeatable process to create living, breathing financial plans for people that we then document and then partner with them to help make sure they're keeping on track. And just making sure nothing's being overlooked, whether it's a tax consideration, maybe there's an estate situation that we need to take a look at that maybe they hadn't thought of. So, so the way we're creating this confidence is literally through planning and then partnering with people over time to help make sure that plan's a good one, right? Mm-hmm. And it's going to get them where they want to go.
Yeah. So when you say that you're wanting to work with women, is this in regards to kind of like maybe the distinction of what is happening in our age and time? I mean, with the baby boomers scenario, I've been hearing through the grapevine a lot of widowers. Widows are out there, and the men usually were taking care of the finances. I mean, it's sorry to say that, ladies, but that's what was happening. So everybody's like, what? Women power. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but at the same time, right now we are in a different age where, baby boomers are in that predicament. Like, I don't know what to do. Are you directed into a certain age group, or is this all as young as possible?
Yeah, that's a great question. So anybody who's serious about getting help, I will gladly talk to. I think probably where we can provide the most value is women ages 40 to maybe 60 or 65 years old. Widows, we can certainly help them, but the reason 40 to 60 seems to be kind of the magic area is because that's when you're making a lot of really hefty planning decisions that are going to impact you at 65, 75, maybe even 80 years old. So while I personally have a heart for widows and will do everything I can to serve them, I think probably the sweet spot is 40 to 60.
So, and when you're talking about management of your wealth and finances, what is the consideration of how much finances does a person need to be making in order for you to go ahead and step in? I'm not saying that there is a limit, but is there a limit that you would like to work with? And I mean, because a lot of people out there, if they're making a 6-figure income or they're making, a 5-figure income, what is the sweet spot in order for you to step in and say, hey, listen, let me be a part of this and let me go ahead and help you?
So that's a good question. So I don't, most financial advisors will say, okay, I have an asset minimum, nobody below 200,000 or 150,000 is getting in. I haven't taken that route because I want to be able to have the biggest impact possible. If you've got $250,000, $300,000 by the time you're 40 years old, you're doing pretty good, right? So the amount of impact I can make may or may not be, you've kind of done the hard work, much of the hard work already, right? So I don't want to leave those people out that have maybe, less savings. So what I'm focused on is more the income piece. So if you've created, especially if you're a lady or a couple that have created a fantastic business, maybe something here locally in Prescott that's really blessing people, and it's creating a really strong income for you, and you're kind of looking around going, okay, now what? How do I save on taxes? How do I get this money into a retirement account? How do I turn it into income? Answering those really difficult questions well is going to have the greatest impact moving forward. And so that's what I'm looking for. You do have to have created some success initially, certainly by creating a meaningful income. And then once that works in place, then I can help people make meaningful decisions about what to do with it.
Nice. So market trends, we all see that there's a whole bunch of things happening in our world today, whether it be political or whether it just be downright, what is going on with the American dollar. There's these signs of crypto. I actually had somebody talk with me yesterday morning. He says, so I've been wanting to go ahead and invest my money into something, but I just don't know what. He goes, what do you think about crypto? And in my response, I was like, well, to be honest, man, I still believe that the money scenario is kind of funny, because I look at money as it's funny. It's a piece of paper. And not many people acknowledge what I'm trying to say to them, but it's just a piece of paper. And sometimes when you hold up, I'm going to use this image real quick. If you hold up a piece of toilet paper and you hold up some money, what is more value? And obviously everybody's going to be like, well, the dollar is. Well, and then I also tell them, I said, depends on the time. and that's how my brain works. So if somebody came up to you and say, hey, listen, I have some money that I need to or want to invest, what kind of guides would you go ahead and guide them to?
What kind of guys?
Guide. Where would you guide them to go ahead and invest this money? Would it be in crypto? Would it be in obviously this is your realm. I have no clue where you would go ahead and invest, $1,000 a month or $500 a month into. What would you consider a good place to go ahead and invest into? During this time that we're living in.
Yeah. Well, so I can only be real broad, right? If I'd sat down with a client and we've gone over all their financials, their tax situation, their goals, I can get very specific on yes, Bitcoin or no Bitcoin or how much of it, whatever. So without that level of detail, I have to just be real broad in what I say here. I'll give two bits of advice. One is money's like manure. It starts to smell really bad unless you spread it out. Once you spread it out, then you've actually got crops and things like that are going to grow. So you want to spread your money out. So whatever you're interested in, whatever investment that you're thinking about, whether it's Bitcoin, gold, Walmart stock, you name it, put a little bit in each of these so that you're spread out. So that's the first thing I would say. And then the other thing I would say is you want to be an owner, not a loaner. And what I mean by that is there's investment strategies that allow you to purchase equity in a particular business. I mentioned Walmart. You could list thousands, right? There's Tesla, there's Uber, what have you. By buying equity in that company, you're participating in the growth, you're participating in the profits. You are going to gain wealth as these organizations prosper. And so that to me is a more meaningful long-term strategy than what I'm characterizing as the loaner, right? So we're talking about owner versus loaner. A loaner strategy might be something like buying bonds or lending money to people, things like that. There is money to be made here. Of course, banks make a killing loaning us money every year, right? So there is money to be made there. But the better investment would be, in my view, investing in the bank itself, as opposed to loaning the money to the bank that they can then go and loan to other people.
It's kind of like why didn't anybody tell me about this when I was in high school attitude right now? And I'm like thinking to myself, like, once again, the world's doing a whole bunch of craziness, and then everybody's on YouTube university nowadays, and people are finding out things to do and work in the way that they're working.
Yeah.
Would you when you say to go ahead and put your money in different locations, is this the same conversation, like don't put all your eggs in one basket type of deal? Because some people are just like, oh, dude, I'm just gonna put all my money into this, and savings is the first thing that everybody wants to put it in there, like savings.
Yeah.
Like, what are they gonna do with that savings? Sorry about that.
Yeah,
dude, I know what I'm doing around town.
Yeah, you bring up a great point. CDs were paying like 4.5%, 5% here maybe 6 months ago, and I had a lot of people that are like, I'm not going to invest in the market. It's too risky. I'm going to put my money in CDs and make 5%. If you do that, you're going to make 5%. But I don't know if you've been watching the stock market so far this year, but it is crushed 5%. And so there's a give and a take. So that CD is guaranteed, but as far as making long-term wealth gains, you got to get in the game. You got to own equity in good companies, good organizations. And so my nudge to people would be, make sure you're not overlooking actually buying that bank stock as opposed to just putting money in the bank. Right.
Okay. So basically your task and your I guess your studying is, what you do is you actually look into these things and you just like acknowledge, like, Walmart is doing really well, so we're going to go ahead and invest into that and put your money into that. And I'm, you got to forgive me because I'm so ignorant when it comes down to any investments and putting my money anywhere. So that's why this conversation is really, really good, because one, I can go ahead and ask you questions and I don't have to pay you, but two, I can go ahead and obviously probably ask all the questions that everybody out there might want to go ahead and ask.
Yeah.
Is this the way that you could go ahead and build financial wealth for the future? Is that how we should consider it? Is like instead of putting our money in savings, put our money into certain types of stocks, certain types of CD. Is that what you said?
CD.
Yeah. And that's kind of what your wealth management is all about, right?
Yeah. I think that's fair. Kind of figuring out what makes sense for each individual. To go a little deeper, what ultimately the discipline that I'm involved in is making sure absolutely nothing is being overlooked. I want people to feel confident, rest easy, that if there's a risk out there, we've already talked about it and they're aware of it and they understand it, and it's not going to undo them. So that's the first thing, is just looking at the whole big picture and just making absolutely nothing is slipping through the cracks. Okay, so it's the primary discipline is the planning process. Okay, just to kind of give you a couple samplings of what that's looked like. My firm recently partnered with a sweet widow, like you mentioned a moment ago, who has I think 10 rental properties here in the Quad City area. So Chino, Prescott. Really successful lady. She's on her own though, so now all of a sudden she's doing it by herself, and maybe she hadn't been doing it for the last 30 years. And so we got everything out on the table. And one of the questions we asked when we were onboarding was, when was the last time you had your homeowner's insurance for all these rentals? When was the last time you had that reviewed by somebody who's not trying to sell you homeowner's insurance? Okay. Mm-hmm. So we got in touch with the agent and we looked over everything, and we found that we could save this lady $17,000 in insurance premiums per year by changing her deductible to a range that she was still very comfortable with. And so that's just an illustration of if you've got somebody who knows what they're doing, looking at the overall picture, you're going to find those opportunities. And so even though this lady was already successful, she's going to be okay regardless of what's going on. She just got a $17,000 a year pay raise just by being proactive and partnering with professionals.
Sometimes you just sit there and you're just like, well, I just been hanging out with Joe, and no offense if there's a Joe out there. I've been hanging out with Joe, and he's been my insurance guy forever. Yeah. And I never stopped to ask if I could go ahead and get better rates. Like, it's just literally just normal.
We're busy, right? Yeah. We're busy. So we know we got to have homeowners insurance. The bank requires it. So we go and we get it. Or we've got to have insurance for the car. So we go and we get it. And maybe it's a great deal. Maybe it makes perfect sense. But before you know it, 10 years goes by, right? Life happens. Yeah. And you haven't thought about it in years and years and years. So that's one example. Another really helpful one that I was excited about. It was just last week. We had somebody come in and they had investment accounts. They'd moved from California and they had investment accounts all over. They had IRAs in Alabama. They had rollovers in Long Beach, California, where they were from. And so it was very discombobulated. And so when I asked the lady, okay, what brings you in today? and it was a couple, but the lady was definitely like, I could see it. She was driving this ship, right?
As they do.
She wanted to know, when I asked the question, she wanted to know, are we going to be okay? Okay, and these were pretty prosperous people. They did a lot of things right, but she didn't have clarity because she had stuff over here, stuff over there, stuff over here. She's talking to this guy there. The insurance isn't aligned with the properties. The properties in a different state. I mean, it was everywhere. And so, through the course of onboarding these clients and helping them out and kind of getting some clarity on what they wanted and building a plan, we went from 7 different institutions to bringing everything under one house. It's all on one statement, and I'm helping them oversee it. And I know what's going to happen over time. I've been doing this a long time now. At first, I'm going to call them. I'm going to say, we need to do this, we need to do that. And they're going to be kind of slow about making that decision. It's not going to feel easy. There's going to be some strain and some stress because they've been doing it themselves, and that can be really stressful. Fast forward maybe 18 months, 2 years of working together, they're gonna have experienced me just kind of handling stuff and giving them sound advice over time, so they don't have to think about it. When I pick up the phone 2 years from now, I know I'm going to say, hey guys, we need to do a Roth conversion. I need you to get me in touch with your accountant so I can talk to them about this or that, how this impacts your Social Security. And they're going to say something like, Brian, whatever you need. We don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
And so you're essentially, the real value add, sure, you're making sure nothing's getting overlooked, but the essence or why it's valuable is you're just taking this big, hairy problem and you're handing it over to a team of people that do it all day, every day, know what to look for, know what questions to ask. So you don't have to think about it. So you can go have fun, so you can spend time with family, whatever it is that happens to be important to you.
Well, I could sit here all day. We could go ahead and ask the questions, and we could go ahead and be like, here's my money, man. Put it in good places. And then that's kind of what the idea is here. And that's what we're trying to go ahead and bring to you, the guys out there in this community. So if you have any questions, I just want to let you know that his name and number and his email have been scrolling on the bottom here. And if you guys want to get a hold of him, you can, and that's how you do it. So I just want to go ahead and let you guys all know this. So here's my final question. Mm-hmm. When you go ahead and are specifically looking for individuals or people to want to go ahead and work with.
Yeah.
Is there a specific type of I know that you already said it. I'm looking for A, B, and C. Mm-hmm. But is there a specific thing that they will need to come to the table with, or you just want to go ahead and have that initial consultation? Yeah, that's to see where they're at.
Yeah, that's a great question. And the initial consultation is pretty informal. I don't charge anything for that. I usually spend 30 to 40 minutes just talking with people and trying to gauge what they're concerned about. So they don't really need to come with statements or detailed documents. Any information would be helpful, of course, but it's more just a get to know you conversation. And the reason for that is we're busy at Ryleigh. We're getting close to capacity, and so we're looking to align ourselves with clients who are serious about planning and will value and take our advice. Okay. So if 30, 40 minutes into the conversation, they're not really interested in spending time planning, and they're not really interested in kind of the more detailed aspects of what we do, that's fine. I can provide referrals to other organizations here in town. No hard feelings whatsoever. But it really is just an opportunity to make sure that the service that we're providing aligns with what they're looking for, and values are aligned and things like that. So great question. Bottom line is just come have a cup of coffee with me here in the office, and we'll kind of talk through what's important to you, what you're worried about, and just see if we're a good fit.
It's huge, man. It's huge. Well, guys, this is one of those moments in times where we're just going to go ahead and make you think about where you're going to go ahead and put your money and what is your next move. And I know I said that was the last question, but if you were a dad right now to whoever's watching, what would you say to that person?
Oh, okay.
But it comes out of money.
Well, you really put me on the spot.
Yeah, it happens.
So I would say from an investment perspective, I would say two things: live within your means and get going. So even if you make a bad investment at age 19 or 20, it's not going to kill you, right? So
that's a big statement. Live within your means, meaning don't go out there and buy that big old boat if you don't have the money.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
With that being said,
that's sound financial advice. Good job.
With that being said, I would love for you guys to go ahead and reach out to say again one Ryleigh Wealth Management.
Yeah, Ryleigh Wealth Management.
Ryleigh, okay. Ryleigh Wealth Management. Get a hold of them. Let them know that you guys heard it right here at the Prescott Times. And once again, he did say that they're almost close to capacity, but he will be able to go ahead and let you know if there's another company that would be willing to work with you. So no question is a bad question. If you guys want to go ahead and see what this man can do for you and your future, now's the time to go ahead and hit him up, because guess what? This is what we like to do. Tell you guys about people that are doing something in our community and are doing something for our community. So with that being said, I'm out of here. He has money to go ahead and play with. Me, I got to go money to make. So I'm out. Peace, love, and happiness. Let it not be war. And remember, love always wins. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in and being a part of what we got going on here.
Cool, man.